It took me to my greatest fear, which is death. And it really brought me to that point where I was like very sure that I was dying. There's a very casual nature right now happening with psychedelics and plant medicine. The people I've studied for 10 years in the jungle before they're serving. Nowadays, it's like Instagram shaman.
People after using a strong medicine like ayahuasca could kind of go crazy.
The most dangerous person to sit with plant medicine is not interested in the truth. And they only want to believe in their side of the story. My concern is that we could lose our voice. It can be really deceptive who is legitimate. The more you run from this deeper work, the more it's going to plague you. When we go down the path of plant medicine and we gain awareness, like there really isn't a going back. I think if someone is not prepared for what that journey is going to feel and be like, it can be disorienting. There's a lot that's going to unfold. There's a lot bigger of a battle going on than we could ever understand.
Lana, welcome. Thank you for coming on the show. Super excited for our conversation. Why don't you give listeners a quick intro of who you are and what you're up to in the world?
So my name is Lana Rose. You can call me Lana. And I created a service called Concierge. And Concierge is a wellness service where I connect people to different modalities, really helping people figure out what is next or best for them in their journey, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And there's so many different ways to heal or optimize. And so I really help people get clear on what is best for them and who is best for them and what place and experience. And so that's really what I'm doing. I spent 10 years, my career was in television advertising. I worked for Viacom, so all those networks like MTV and VH1 and CMT and Nickelodeon and Univision. My career in New York City, and then kind of had my own journey to create Conscious Concierge. And I've been doing that for the last 2 years. Yeah,
I was going to ask, like, Conscious Concierge is such a unique position in, I'd say, society that you're doing. How did you end up doing that exact thing?
You know, based on my own journey and how I got into it was I was in the pandemic in New York, and New York was like the epicenter. And so it was just really heavy, really intense. I ended up going through a breakup. And I turned 30, and so I was just going through it. And the options at that point were therapy and pharmaceuticals. I had been in and out of therapy since I was 6 and on different kinds of pharmaceuticals at some points in my life. And I just had this intuition feeling like, there's more here to why I'm feeling so distressed. So I went out to Colombia because I was going to work remote for 1 month. I was like, let me just clear my head and get out of New York. I found a bunch of people working remote out there. It's called Wi-Fi Tribe. I went out there and I ended up staying because the pandemic kept persisting, and they kept, I was at Univision at the time, and they kept pushing back work remote. And when I was out there, I had a friend, Eric Neese. He was on the first Real World ever. Shout out to Eric. Nice. He was like my spiritual guru. I grew up across the street from him. And he was like, you got to get out to Peru. There's something I can really help you with. And I really want you to come here and experience it. And it ended up being ayahuasca. And from that moment on, it was like the roof was blown over my head, of, man, like what I thought life was and is, and who I thought I was and is, and just like so much, and really starting to understand that everything that was happening in my life, I had attracted, and really taking ownership and responsibility of the things I still needed to heal. And so long story short, how I got into this is I started going down the different paths, working with plant medicine and working with energy healing and deep meditation and breath work and functional medicine, naturopathic medicine. And I started constantly feeling like, who's in charge of this world here? Like, who can I go to talk to them about what are my options and who is safe? I knew I was vulnerable too. And I was just so hungry and curious for more understanding of myself and life and what was really happening, not only in the world because it was COVID, but just with myself. I knew after ayahuasca, there was a lot more that I could explore. So I kept feeling like, there's a lot out there, but I don't know who can help me navigate all of it. So I essentially, created the service that I was really desperately looking for. And I ended up leaving corporates because I couldn't stop talking about this stuff. I wanted to talk about it all day, every day. And I knew at some point, like, it was time to step into my place in that world. I just didn't know what it was for so long. And when I figured it out, I was like, I need to do this full time. Yeah.
And that was a couple of years ago?
2 years ago. Almost exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so walk me through, so somebody would come to you with a request. What kind of requests or what kind of ask would they usually have?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different archetypes of people who come and a lot of different asks. There's definitely the person who has been to therapy or taken pharmaceuticals and is like either plateaued or just curious if there's something else, or it's not working, or it's making them worse, and they're kind of like, what else is there? So there's definitely that person. There's like the healing spectrum and the optimization longevity spectrum. So people who are dealing with physical ailments, physical illness, and maybe have traversed the traditional medical system, or still want to traverse the traditional and want to see what else, they can do, or they haven't found healing. So the mental health, the physical health, people who are spiritually curious, maybe they're working and they're doing all the things and checking the boxes, but they feel unfulfilled, unhappy. People that are plant medicine curious definitely find me and they're like, can you help me with that? People who want to level up, like in terms of, just the optimization spectrum, or want to, be in the longevity space. So we get a lot of types of people. Yeah. I've been told to niche down 100 times and I'm like, I can't, it's like, this is the niche, is like everybody has something, a different path. And so you come here and you learn what could be your path.
Yeah, it's interesting. I also recognize that there's such a diverse set of experiences, medicines, and modalities out there, but there's no like one kind of a marketplace where you can go and explore and find your practitioner. Probably because it's kind of like under the table a lot of times, right?
There's a lot of marketplaces that are popping up, actually. Yeah. I mean, the plant medicine, they definitely have to be more cognizant, but there's definitely marketplaces that are popping up. They've reached out to me, actually, some of them. And because it's like similar work that they're doing, but ours is, white glove for sure. But yeah, I mean, with plant medicine, there's a lot of legalities. So that's probably why there's a little bit less of that.
Because the marketplace doesn't necessarily have to facilitate anything. They're just kind of like, I guess even exposing the facilitators, that would be the problem. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so your job is to go out there and find kind of credited practitioners, those who are trusted by your network of people, I guess, right? And then include them into your catalog, or how?
Yeah. So I basically, when I started, I called everybody that I had ever worked with, because at that point I had done a lot. I worked with a lot of coaches, a lot of guides, a lot of healers, a lot of retreat centers. So I made very personal relationships with them. That was always like my strength too, is like interpersonal relationship skills. So I really just got on the phone and called the people I trusted in each lane and was like, what do you think about this idea? What do you think about, there being an energy exchange for this idea? And they were like, it's genius. It's great. We love that. We, would help us a lot too, obviously, because I'm doing a lot of education for people when they're having the consultation before they're going to each thing. So I really, my thing that's different than the marketplaces is obviously I've experienced every person I'm recommending. Yeah. I mean, from coach to plant medicine to retreat to functional medicine. So, that's really my thing. Yeah.
And out of all of the different modalities and practitioners, what are the like the main ones that you recommend people to experience?
Yeah. So I have it like broken out on my website of plant medicine, energy work, functional medicine, naturopathic medicine, retreats, and coaching. That's really the verticals. Yeah.
For your personal experience, what was the most profound and the most like changing experience? Was that an ayahuasca experience for you?
All the modalities are helpful at different points in times, but obviously, ayahuasca was an accelerator for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely the most profound. And yeah, I would say seasons for everything, but I think ayahuasca probably. Yeah.
What else, like, I don't want to call it heavy duty. It's something that's really strong like that. What else have you tried?
Plant medicine wise?
Yeah.
Bufo, ayahuasca, combo, psilocybin, acacia.
I've never heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Rapé.
that? What's acacia?
Acacia is from Egypt. It's out that way. It's plant medicine that's like very ancient.
Oh.
Yeah. It has more of like a galactic feeling. Very more light than ayahuasca. Ayahuasca can be really intense and deep, but yeah.
Have you had your fair share of kind of like challenging experiences, like dark? Yeah.
I've had like more than not challenging in ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Yeah. My last experience was very deep, very intense. It took me to my greatest fear, which is death. And it really brought me to that point where I was like very sure that I was dying, that it was the end. Like no one could convince me otherwise. I knew every person at the altar. They're my friends. And I was like, and I was also a support at the retreat. So it was just really, really challenging. And I'm integrating from that, and I will be until like further notice. Like I don't have plans to sit with it after that. I felt like it was a very important message, and I tell people this all the time. It's like there's a very casual nature right now happening with psychedelics and plant medicine, and it's so profound, and like I have so much reverence for it. And people invite me to the retreats all the time so that I can experience it, so that I can then recommend it.
Yeah.
But I stopped really going unless I felt 1,000%. And after this experience, I was like, yeah, I mean, when I got home, it was just all I could think about was like, what happens after this and where do we go? And it was just really existential.
Yeah, yeah.
In a level that I wasn't sure I'd like fully come back.
Yeah. Has fear of death has been like a major thing for you?
Since I was really young, when I was really, really young, I would sleep with a nightlight, and actually sometimes with the light on, to the point where, I wouldn't be able to calm down till like it was light outside. And I would sleep with my mom till I was like almost in high school some nights. Like it was definitely a thing that I've reflected on a lot. So I wasn't surprised. The medicine takes me there quite a bit. Bufo did too. But I now know, it's something that I get to face. And so really face like in the day to day, this like, it's probably, one of the deepest processes you can go through as a human, to be faced with your own death over and over.
Yeah.
But it feels like there is no avoiding it. And what the shamans that I trust told me is like, the more you run from this deeper work and facing it, the more it's going to plague you.
Of course.
So
that's how it works. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's been a deep year.
Luckily for me, my relationship to death has always been very, I don't know. I've never really been like, not to be like arrogant, I'm not afraid to die type thing, but it was never like a main theme in any of the experiences.
Probably not one of your main fears. Yeah.
I mean, you would argue though, death is the biggest fear.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I said that too. I was like, well, I'm sure everyone goes through this. And she's like, no, because that is like a fear of yours that runs deeper. Some people fear that they're not going to be successful so bad that they'd rather die. You are so afraid to die because you're so afraid of what happens after. You're gripped and paralyzed by it. But some people are afraid that they'll never have children more than they're going to die. Like, it's like interesting that some people really, it's not their deepest fear.
I've sat with plant medicine maybe 7 times, and knock on wood, I haven't had like a very traumatic or challenging experience. It was always mind-opening experience.
Yeah.
But never like I came out and it was like, wow, this was so challenging. I haven't had that yet.
Yeah, you never know what people are going to get. And when people come to me, like, I don't recommend plant medicine. If someone asks me, then we can have the conversation, but, and I can, do my thing, but I definitely don't bring it up in conversation, like casual, like you should just do this because I mean, you're opening a lot of channels and portals and energy. And I think I'm, some people call me like the safety police because I'm just more on the side of caution, more erring on the side of, this is, it's becoming very casual and becoming, the people I've studied that I have worked with have studied for 10 years in the jungle before they're serving.
Yeah.
And again, nowadays it's like Instagram shaman.
Yeah.
So I just think, I think people need to be careful, and really make sure they're in good hands and safe. And if they don't know how to discern what that means, definitely find someone like myself or someone who's can discern that for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you been navigating this whole notion of being kind of responsible for their experience? You're recommending them something like this, and then if they're having a really bad experience, for example, you might feel a little bit responsible for the outcomes of that, Yeah,
I haven't had that yet, but I make it very clear, and again, it's why I don't recommend it unless they are asking me like, hey, I want to do this. Where do I go? Plant medicine is a very small part of what I do. It's one of many modalities. So, I mean, it's really not the whole bread and butter of Concierge. It's one of the 6, I'd call it, verticals. But yeah, I mean, I make it clear that it should be something you're called to and not something just for like curiosity. I fell into those traps too of like, I'm just curious what more I can uncover. Yeah. And then just uncovered a little too much, and kind of go through that process. But yeah, I think it's really somebody's responsibility when they're going on that experience. Yeah. But I'm also really there for support after. So to help them with it, find an integration specialist. I really feel passionate about integration. I feel like that's really where for any of the modalities, even working with a coach, working with a therapist, like what happens when you leave and how do you live your life, your day to day? The community I started, that was a big intention of just making sure people had support after if they are going to embark on these experiences. We don't live in the jungle, unlike the people that are serving it. So it can be confusing coming back. Yeah. So just making sure people have support and also making sure people really know and can, understand what to expect and that they're in a safe place. Yeah.
And so most people who reach out to you are they've achieved some kind of success by whatever standards the success might look like, and they've hit some kind of a wall where something is not working out for them. So basically, they are, I would suspect, successful types.
Usually, yeah, usually, yeah.
And do you see the future where more and more leaders are exploring those avenues as well to self-explore for self-growth? And
psychedelics and functional medicine for sure are emerging hugely. I mean, when it comes to psychedelics and plant medicine, we're definitely seeing more of an uptick out west in like California and things like that. But it's just, if a lot of the world started living from their heart, which is what a lot of these plants do, get you into the body, get you into the heart, it really changes what you focus on, your behaviors. The plants give you vision, and then you get to choose, what you are seeing, what you are paying attention to. So they give you awareness, in my opinion. And after that awareness, there's not really a going back, it's like you're aware and then you get to choose, obviously free will. But when you see and you have the glasses on from the plants, it's obviously a totally different world. And I think leaders that are going through this process, I mean, it's such a ripple effect of how that the rest of the corporation, I mean, I've had really prominent, C-suite executives, and they I mean, when their life changes like that, then so does everyone else beneath them.
Mm-hmm.
I think functional medicine too, you know, people who are dealing with chronic illness, that can really disrupt someone's life when they're in a leadership position. It's really challenging, and functional medicine can really get to the root so that they're just not taking medication forever, or also prevent illness from happening with doing all those further testing. So I definitely see those two lanes as really exploding in the next few years, in terms of leadership and in terms of people who are high achievers, really tapping into both the healing side of that and the longevity side of that.
And what about, you know, there's obviously also this notion of kind of like abusing the medicine or doing it for wrong reasons. What's your take on, like, what's the right way to go about like working with it?
Yeah. So for me, I'm always interested in what someone's intention is.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm really feeling lately that curiosity is not really like the best intention to have. I think curiosity is amazing, but I think that there really should be like a deeper intentionality in my opinion. And really somebody that, they're just very intentional with like what it is that they're coming to this spirit for, or this medicine or this modality for, versus like a casual feeling with it, a casual, you know, recreational experience. Cause the plants have an intelligence, I mean, beyond what we can even really understand. They've been here for millennia.
Yeah.
So I think it's just my opinion of the casualness of it is that I just would think people should proceed with caution, because these plants are really smart. And, you know, it's just, when we go down the path of plant medicine and we gain awareness, like there really isn't a going back. So I think if someone is not prepared for what that journey is going to feel and be like, it can be disorienting.
Yeah.
I know I experienced a disorientation, and when I first went, I mean, my intention was so pure. I was just like, I need to feel better. I cannot live like this anymore. I mean, I would have done anything. Through time, I noticed myself, going, you know, if I would go for, I want to be with my community or my friends or for business, it was challenging. And challenging in a way where I understood the message very clearly that it's to be taken serious and respected. And I think what I'm observing is I feel like there's like a bit of like overuse, abuse. Yeah. But you know, to each their own on their journey with that.
You mentioned, the plants are smart. Do you see that the plants have the spirit and that's what you're mainly interacting with? Or do you see a version where the plants open the portal to higher dimension in which there are spirits also that you're interacting with?
Yeah, I mean, I think both, you know, like I definitely feel with ayahuasca, it was like something for me. I'm a big skeptic. So I go into everything a little skeptical, everything. I mean, even when it's like been proven, I'm like, you know, so for me, this role of concierge is kind of good because like I'm more skeptical of everything before I'm believing it. For sure. With the plants, I was doubting them a lot. In the beginning, I was like, what is this? Like, you know, what is this really going to do? And man, ayahuasca has definitely been the most like profound for me and the most I've had like a relationship with, in the sense of like, I really feel the spirit and I feel like the intelligence of it in a way that's like super hard to articulate. But I do feel that spirit, and I do think, I think that it can, I'll speak from my experience. It's opened me up to deeper levels of connection, you know, with the God of my understanding, with intuitive feelings. But I know people definitely connect with spirits and people in the afterlife and all that. And I think, again, that it can definitely open up your gifts with that, but it's so important you are with somebody that can guide you on that, because again, that world can get very confusing quickly. It's so, for me, again, I'm like the safety police, where I just think it's so important that people are really protected and prepared for what can come up. Yeah.
And there are stories out there where people, after using a strong psychoactive medicine like ayahuasca, could kind of go crazy. They might have psychotic events or things like that. Like, how would you communicate let's say, someone who is considering, but then they have those types of stories out there, they're preventing them from leaning in.
So I'm very clear on, like, I, of course, am, well versed in these paths, but I really let the professionals and the experts speak to the medicine on a deeper level, in the sense that they've trained so hard and they've devoted their whole life to the understanding of this intelligence and the reverence that they have. Like, I really like to give them the floor on those fronts of, like, explaining to people who's a fit, what can happen. I mean, of course, I do like the first take of, like, it's important that they can't be on SSRIs and different medications. What my teachers have taught me in the space is it's really important that someone does not sit when they have schizophrenia. Bipolar is a debatable subject. Some shamans say it's okay. It's a mental injury. We can work with it. And some say it exacerbates it. Again, that's like really dependent on the shaman. It's interesting. I once asked someone I really respect in the space, who should not sit beyond like a mental illness? And again, she calls it a mental injury because she says, like, the plants can help a lot with that if someone's very skilled and has, like, a lot of mastery. But she actually said narcissistic tendencies, because the medicine can inflate your sense of self sometimes, or it can exacerbate a narcissistic. I should back up. She says it's really important that someone doesn't sit who is not interested in the truth, and they only want to believe in their side of the story, because the medicine might exacerbate that. And that is, she says, the most dangerous person to sit with plant medicine.
Yeah, I actually kind of have.
But in general, on my end, like, again, I'm really assessing, is someone on medications? Does someone have that in the family, et cetera, schizophrenia? But I always default to the guide, the retreat center, and they really do that deeper dive, so that they're very thorough in who can attend. But on my end, it's really just bringing them to, or not bringing them, I should say, connecting them to a safe space. And then from there, it's between them and the retreat center.
And so oftentimes, in the past at least, you would participate in this similar, like in the same circles with the clients, just so they feel safe and stuff?
No, well, like, I have, but not always.
Okay,
Yeah. So when someone comes to me for a consultation, we go through the different options. Like, for the consultation, it's really me assessing, like, what are they feeling? Like, what is it? What have they been through in their life? What are they hoping to feel like? What are their goals? What are they seeking? What is their level of understanding in terms of, like, their mental, physical, and spiritual health? And meeting them where they're at. That's why I have 45 partners all over the world, because I have 10 different functionals, and I have, a bunch of different plant medicine people and different retreats, because everybody's so different. So my role really is, like, assessing based on where they're at, based on what their goals are, based on how they feel, based on the work they've done already. What would I recommend out of the people I trust? But I always give them options, because it's important that they feel into what is best for them. I mean, there's so much out there. I mean, even when you think about, like, religions, right? Like, some people really resonate with Jesus and Christianity, and then there's Jewish religion. And I'm talking about people that weren't even born into that. Right? Just ideologies. And people receive healing in the way that's most resonant for them. When I go to church to support my boyfriend, I mean, I grew up Jewish, he's Christian, there's still a message for me there. Maybe they're using different language, but there's still a message that I can receive, and I can receive healing. It just depends. And everybody, I've learned through this process, and I mean, it was a huge reason why I built this, was just the way people can receive healing is unique. So they need options.
And out of the 45, how do you keep, do you have like mental profile for each and what it's good for? Do you have like your internal system where you have some notes, or how do you keep track of that?
Yeah, so I know everyone personally, which has been great. So that way I really use my intuition on who I think would be best. That's my like gift and skill has always been connecting people. And so I really, really lean into, same with the community. When I connect women, I'm just like, this person, I feel would be great with this person. But in terms of logistics, like on the back end, I have like, this person is really good for, healing sexual trauma, or this person is actually really good with, helping people to achieve like the next goal in business, and this person can really help with anxiety and depression, and just really having notes on what is someone's specialty. I mean, sometimes with healers, like they're so dynamic, so they can have trouble kind of synthesizing their own message. So sometimes I help them kind of like, okay, what is really like your superpower? Who can you really support best? Yeah.
This podcast often talks about topics around technology and spirituality and consciousness and all of those things. So we haven't at all touched on how does technology play a role in this whole new wave of us tapping back into the ancestral knowledge. And it's almost like a contradictory thing. Technology is almost pulling us away from that. But at the same time, do you see a function of modern technology to contribute to the growth of human evolution?
Yeah, I mean, I use technology all the time. I feel like what ChatGPT has done for me in terms of being an entrepreneur, I mean, I think it's really important we're not using it to copy and paste captions. I think that is like just always very obvious. But what it has opened up for me in terms of going from corporate, I mean, my whole life was in corporate and I had very clear, contracts and terms and things like support. I mean, I use ChatGPT for ideation on like, okay, how can I connect with the one hotel? Like, what do you recommend? Or, this person wants to be a partner. Like, what are some good deal points? I mean, these are things I was kind of just like using ChatGPT for when I would have been, calling everyone I knew, trying to figure it out. So, I mean, it's absolutely accelerated, the ability to get these messages out first and foremost. And I think now the ability for people who are all over the world to be able to have this information, to be able to ask ChatGPT, hey, I had this ayahuasca experience, and just even have some understanding is pretty cool. And I think that, just like anything, two things can be true. It can be very harmful for people, and we can be really dumbing our brains down, and we can really be losing our creativity, or we can be amplifying it. So I definitely see it as an ally, and it's helped me with so much. I mean, even just my podcast and being able to edit and like create clips and all of the things that I use it for, my community, just reminding me of topics that are great to talk about. It's just, it's been super helpful.
And do you see a version of the future in which technology is in the close vicinity of those profound spiritual experiences, like working with plant medicine? Because again, they are usually two separate type of experiences, far away from each other. I have friends that are working on a lot of apps that are definitely integrating people from plant medicine experiences, definitely helping them with things like microdosing. There's a lot of emphasis right now on AI and plant medicine and psychedelics. No way.
Huge. Yeah. I think everybody's doing it as quickly as possible, but there's definitely a lot of people working on that. And I think it's great. I mean, with functional medicine, it's huge. I have a functional medicine GPT where all my labs are uploaded into it. And it's definitely really important to always check in my opinion, and still work with a practitioner. But if I have a question and I need to just quickly check something, it's supplementing my work with a functional. I know functional medicine and AI now is like a huge initiative. There's so many marketplaces now that are using AI, that are, even doing what I'm doing, but with AI. Like well, let's get you, between plant medicine and that. I love that. Like at first when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, but I mean, that's that. And I'm, it's a very different experience. It's just really the more white glove. And so I think that there's like, I don't know, I think people are afraid, but I think if we embrace it, there's so much opportunity.
What are some concerns that you might have around where technology is going?
My concern is that we could lose our voice. And as people who are in the healing, energy, spiritual, wellness community, our words are so important.
Yeah.
Like speaking our own words with our own ideas, I think is just so important. I think it's how we capture the people that we're meant to speak to. So I definitely always wonder, like, if people are using GPT for their captions and their ideas of the captions, it's like, it can be really deceptive who is legitimate. And I mean, that's why I built this too, is like, I wanted people to come, when it comes to coaches, I mean, anyone can call themselves a coach.
Yeah.
Anyone can call themselves a functional practitioner after a few courses too. So my concerns are, people not having experience and, more importantly, like embodiment, really lived it, and just people guiding people that aren't super experienced because they can seem it.
Yeah. I think what really is important in the age of like super powerful technology like AI, that's actually the dumbest that it will ever be. It's only going to go up from here, the level of intelligence and the level of impact that it can have on our lives. Intention and conscious intention in how we use it, what we ask it to do, how we communicate with it. I think all matters a lot. Like anyone who is interacting with any powerful media or medium should always have in the back of their mind I think some kind of like a vision of like what are they trying to create, instead of just converting, like making a quick buck in this situation. Think a little bit bigger in terms of what is the deep intention are you putting into this, because that's going to be an extension of you.
I even, like, every time I post, I'm like, what is my real intention with this? Is it for like to get likes, to get shares, or is it like there's a real message that wants to come through? It's like we're so pushed to post one a day, and it's so important who we're getting our guidance from in terms of social media, because it's like I really tend to find people that are speaking their truth, and they're really moving the needle with their words versus like a traditional agency that's just like pump it out once a day. And again, it depends, where you're at and what you're hoping to achieve. But yeah, I find that that's also another interesting area, is like if we're working on like the healing people and working on healing and health, then it can quickly turn into like for profit first and foremost. And
incentives get like inverted, and they're not serving us. What is your like desirable vision of the future that you are excited to live in? Describe to me the world that you would love to end up in.
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I would love to end up I would love to end up in a world where we are just talking about things that matter, like all the time, like I feel like it's just, just really talking about things that matter, really a world in which we're all really working on our gifts and our passions, a world in which we have time to enjoy them, a world in which we have like forgiveness and we can just understand that like we're all one people. I mean, I'm like really big on like unity, and just it kills me like all of the things that are going on in the world right now, and just wishing that we lived in a world where people understood how like delicate life is. And I think a world where we're just really tuned into like truth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I hope for that.
Yeah.
For that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also see a future in which we are deeply connected to ourselves, to our higher selves, connected to others, to the environment, to nature. We're very present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nature. Definitely nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we spend most of our time talking about what really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nature's huge. I mean, we are nature, and I think, we've been so disconnected for so long. And just like that we went to school and our kids would go to school and they learn about, like how to coexist better with other people, with like just like things that are going to be making society a better place versus like so much focus on money, so much focus on war and hate and politics and like, yeah.
Do you think in our generation we'll be able to see a very different future that's maybe closer to what we're envisioning, or do you think it'll take centuries and generations?
I think so. I think that we are definitely in the age of people awakening. And I think, there's a lot of interpretations of what that even means, but I think we're definitely becoming more conscious as a society, especially our generation. I think we are like waking up to wanting more from life than sitting in a cubicle and, making someone else super rich and kind of like only making so much. I think that our generation is definitely having that moment right now. It'll be interesting to see where it goes from here.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of people needing support as they awaken because, for me, it was like, and a lot of people go through it. It's very beautiful. And then you're like, wait, what's happening? And it can be confusing and disorienting. And then there's so many different ways to navigate through that space. So I definitely feel those of us that are kind of already in this lane are being kind of prepped and primed to be able to support the next wave of people feeling that way. That's definitely what I see. I feel like it's been a really intense last 2 years, and I think it's largely because of that. I think we're moving through a lot of energy right now.
We are. Sure. Yeah. And it does feel like it's only the levels of energy are just going higher and higher. It's like to the point where some kind of like
something's going on.
Forward escape into some new dimension or some new reality.
If everyone that's like tapped into that I've talked to is feeling that like something's, I've been feeling really sick, which is also, makes a lot of sense. I feel like when you're kind of navigating so much energy, you're trying to hold so much, you're trying to transmute so much, it can be a lot for the body. So I'm actually going to be going out to Ecuador to work with a friend who like really deeply moves energy out of the body when people are feeling sick. I mean, everything with illness, from what I've learned, comes back to the mental, emotional energy stuck in the body. So I've really been in the deep studies of that and how that, like watching people going through illness and just kind of observing and helping those that come to Concierge, but observing the mass of society, like, do they really understand that piece yet? Are they starting to explore that? But it's a huge component.
My wife went into this healing center for 3 months in Peru, deep in the jungle.
Wow.
It was like the deepest cleanse that you can possibly have on all levels. She worked with, she've done like lots of dietas and emotional, energetic, physical cleanse.
How was that?
Amazing. I mean, that's what helped us to get pregnant. And
wow.
It was really transformational. The person that she came back is very different person.
Yeah. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling the heaviness of like a lot of this, and I feel grateful that I sort of have like a really amazing community and mentors that are, guiding the way and educating and helping me understand it. But I do feel like something's really happening, like something's like moving here. I can't even, I've never talked about that on a podcast, but there's just something going on. And I think a lot of us, we're going to see some interesting things in the next few years. I think like old systems are really crumbling, Hollywood, politics. banking, you know, things that were, I don't know, just like super dark. And I think there's a lot that's going to unfold. And I think there's a lot bigger of a battle going on than we could ever understand.
Have you ever had encounters or some like visual experiences of those layers of reality where you say, oh, maybe some kind of battles? I've met people who've kind of experienced that. I don't know, what's your experience with that?
I've never had any like extraterrestrial or like, you know, afterlife or anything like that. But I've definitely just felt like the veil was definitely like lifted a bit for me in terms of like, you know, this existential questioning of like, wait, what are we really doing here? Like, what happens when we leave? And like in that questioning and in the understanding of like, this is a lot different than I, you know, thought, you know, you just, it's like, I remember watching movies growing up, and when the movie ended, I'd be like, oh, thank God, you know, we're back to like, but when you can't go back to that because you've seen so much, you've seen that, you know, life is so much more vast and complex and like beyond what we can understand. There isn't like the movie's over, you know, and you really have to make peace with that.
Right.
And that part has been what I've dealt with the most from a spiritual journey is more so, okay, so what do I do with all of this?
Yeah, how do I integrate it into my model of the reality
in this life? In this 3D, you know, even quitting corporate and starting this, it was just it felt like the only thing I could do, because I was like, I cannot go back to like that, knowing all this. And actually I'm working on developing something with a friend where we're going to be able to really support people on that. I really feel like my work in the next few years is going to be supporting people in having these spiritual experiences, or these, you know, just lifting the veil experiences, and then kind of what do we do with it?
Yeah.
Because we are here and we do live in the 3D and we do need to make money. We do have responsibilities. So not everybody can just go live on an ashram and call it a day.
Right.
I do think the community I built that was a big intention I had there too. Just like, how do we keep people like not from spiraling so much that they cannot show up in their day to day?
On the side note, when you mentioned about I haven't had like experience with aliens or anything like that, I was never interested in the topic of aliens. It was never really like, not that I didn't believe in that. It was just I was focusing my attention in other areas of human experience. But one time during ayahuasca ceremony, I had this encounter with these light beings. There were these taller beings who were made out of light. It was just like energetic beings, and in their heart area, they all had this colorful pattern that was changing, and I understood that that's how they could identify each other, how they feel, or how with their personality identity. And they could see me, and they understood that I'm perceiving them, and they're like, "Welcome. This is where we live. This is our world." And they showed me their world, and the world was made out of light. There were no straight lines. They were all like curvature, vibrating, energetic like field, and we could see far away. We were standing kind of high up, and they showed me how just with their intent they can make drastic change in the environment. They were like, look, and we like the environment would start to shift and change there. And they told me that they don't live somewhere in a distant galaxy or in a distant star. They're here, kind of in the same plane, just in a different dimension. And the last thing that I remember when I came out of that was this like waterfall, water going, and it was that bridge between like this ethereal domain with the physical domain. And when I came out of it, I was like, what? I came to sit with the medicine to like work my shadows and things, you know?
I know those journeys are interesting. Yeah. My first one, I had what they call spiritual surgery, which I had done a lot of research prior. I was not someone that was trying to do this for like kicks. Like I was not a person into that. Like I was really there for like the real deal. But my first journey was a spiritual surgery, and I knew what was happening because I had researched it. So I was like, oh my God, this is what they're talking about. And there was little like light beings that were arranging my organs. And I just remember feeling like so grateful for whatever they were doing. But I mean, good luck telling like, my mom or like a friend that, because it was just so like ridiculous sounding. But yeah, those encounters are definitely common. And I think, yeah, sometimes people come and they want to like heal like an ailment and they're like, I saw an alien.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's a gamble what's going to happen, but maybe there's something you needed to see with that. I mean, I know for me, faith has been really challenging. Of course, I grew up Jewish and, going to temple, and my mom's Catholic. And so she was always going to church, and there's like, the identity of a religion, but then do you really have faith? And that piece for me is still a work in progress of really connecting to the God of my understanding. And I think the medicines can really help with that, because you start to have those more experiences that can only be explained by something higher. So that has been helpful for me.
Cool. Yeah. I feel like there's just so much untapped knowledge and experience and understanding about where are we? Like what's happening,
It's so psychedelic in itself. I remember thinking that as a kid, like looking up at the stars. But of course this journey only made it more and more so. But yeah, I think I've been watching a lot of near-death experiences, and I'm really just trying to tap into that, because the medicine showed me that was something I needed to focus on to really free myself of the fear that was stuck in my body. And but yeah, it's been super interesting, just kind of, again, like living integration and really taking that lesson that was so intense and seeking out that wisdom and integrating it in the day-to-day, and just but it's hard to show up in like the normal shoot the shit conversations when you're just like, oh, what are you up to? And I'm like, integrating death into my current life experience. It's like, it can be challenging to just be in the normal day-to-day combos.
For sure, yeah. And when you said, oh, I've been tapping into this near-death experiences, just through your own experiences, or you would be like researching what happens for other people? Yeah.
I've been researching and watching. I'm going to try to interview somebody who had one recently for my podcast. I did an episode on death recently with a very famous spiritual teacher, Asha. But yeah, just like bringing up the conversation more. I think we don't talk about it much unless it happens, but it's like, it's like such an inevitable thing. And it's such a interesting thing to me that we're not having more conversations on like, what do you think happens? And I mean, I guess you are in a religious stance, but just, I think that's also coming up for me to really talk about more with people. And I think when we can stop being afraid so much of dying, then we can live more fully, So yeah, I've been researching it a lot.
Cool. Yeah. Lucid dreaming was for a while a topic of like a big obsession of mine.
Yeah.
I had a few encounters of my own where I was just blown away how real everything was.
Yeah.
And I was like super awake and just looking around and remembering that it's a dream. And I was like, there's no way.
So crazy.
So real.
Yeah. So super crazy.
So what happens then? Like, where are we going there? Is that a parallel something, or is that a completely, like, is that a simulation of some sort,
I don't know. Yeah. I guess we'll find out at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any, maybe kind of in closing, any last thoughts for the listeners, maybe resources to point to or advice you have or a quote, whatever you want to share?
People listening are more so people who are seeking what?
They're probably those who are curious about the topics of, consciousness, spirituality, evolution, technology, those aspects. And from your perspective, interacting with a lot of practitioners in the medicine space, what insight have you received that was very maybe insightful for you, something like that?
I would say for me, the last, 2 years of doing this is just really the understanding that everybody heals so differently, and what resonates for one person is completely different than another at different points in their journey. So I realize for me, and for what I believe, there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong religion. There's no right or wrong ideology. There's no right or wrong modality. Different tools work at different points in our lives. And so if something has plateaued for you, it doesn't mean that hasn't been working. It just means at this point it's time to shift. And I think you can even shift back, you can shift back to different things, but just really being open and staying open-minded to different tools can work and to just be open to that.
And maybe point people to how people can find you, how can people support, or maybe work with you.
So 3 different ways. The first, if you are looking for a consultation, so if you want to figure out what is next or best for you in your mental, physical, or spiritual health journey, you can reach me at www.yourconsciousconcierge.com. On Instagram is a great way, at Your Conscious Concierge. TikTok, Conscious Concierge, and my email is lana@yourconsciousconcierge.com. I just launched a women's community called Her Conscious Collective. That's on School. So you can reach out to me in either of those ways to learn more about that and what we do there. And then I have a podcast called Conscious Conversations where we talk about all these crazy things and all the modalities and bring on the experts and the people who I connect people to, and really people who've been doing this work a long time in their respective lane. And that is on YouTube, and it's Conscious Conversations.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Rose,
thank
for
you
being here again. And for listeners, whoever is still around, to sticking around all the way until the end. And I hope to see you on the next one.
Bye.
All right. Bye.